Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you walked past a McDonald's? Maybe yesterday, maybe this morning, maybe you're near one right now. And here's what I want you to think about. That building, that location, that piece of land, who do you think owns it? Because here is something that will completely change the way you look at that golden arch. Forever, McDonald's sells burgers, right? Wrong. McDonald's has not been a burger company for a very long time. The burgers are just the distraction. The real business, the actual money machine that generates billions every single year, has nothing to do with beef or fries or milkshakes. And when I tell you what it actually is, you're going to sit back and think, how did I never see this? This is one of the greatest business disguises in the history of capitalism. And today, I am pulling back the curtain on all of it. Okay, so let us start from the beginning, because the real McDonald's story is nothing like what most people think. It is 1940, San Bernardino, California. Two brothers, Richard and Maurice McDonald, open a small barbecue restaurant. Nothing special, just another roadside spot, trying to make ends meet. But these two brothers were quietly doing something that nobody else had figured out yet. They were watching their customers, and what they noticed changed the food industry forever. 9 out of 10 orders were for the exact same things: burgers, fries, and drinks. That was it. People were not coming for the variety. They were coming for the speed, the consistency, and the price. So the brothers did something radical. They fired their entire staff, shut the restaurant for 3 months, and completely rebuilt their kitchen like an assembly line. Every single station had one job. One person did nothing but put sauce on buns. Another did nothing but cook patties. Another did nothing but wrap burgers. They called it the Speedee service system. And when they reopened, the line was around the block. A 15-cent hamburger served in 30 seconds. People had never seen anything like it. By the early 1950s, the McDonald brothers were comfortable, happy, running one very successful restaurant. They had no desire to expand, no ambition for world domination. They just wanted to run their little place and live their lives. But then, a milkshake machine salesman pulled into their parking lot, and nothing was ever the same again. His name was Ray Kroc, 52 years old, divorced, not particularly successful, driving around selling milkshake machines to diners across America. Not exactly the profile of someone who would build one of the most powerful companies in human history. But Ray Kroc had something that most people never develop: obsessive vision. When he walked into that McDonald's in San Bernardino and saw the speed, the efficiency, the crowds, he did not see a burger restaurant. He saw something else entirely. He pulled Richard McDonald aside and said, "Gentlemen, what you have here is the greatest restaurant operation I have ever seen in my life, and I would like to help you open more of them." The brothers were hesitant. They had tried franchising before, and it had been a disaster. Other locations were inconsistent. The quality was always different. But Ray Kroc was persistent, and eventually, they gave him the rights to franchise McDonald's outside of California. In 1955, Ray Kroc opened his first McDonald's in Des Plaines, Illinois. And here's where the story gets really interesting, because Ray Kroc quickly realized something the McDonald brothers had completely missed. The money was not in selling hamburgers. So here is the moment. Everything changes. Ray Kroc is struggling. The franchise model is working. More and more McDonald's are opening. But Ray himself is barely making money. He is collecting small royalties from franchisees. But the McDonald brothers have a deal that takes most of it. Ray Kroc is working himself to the bone, building this brand, and he is flat broke. Until one day, a financial advisor named Harry Sonneborn sits across from Ray Kroc and says something that rewired his entire brain. He said, "Ray, you are not in the burger business. You are in the real estate business." And that was the light bulb moment that built a $200 billion empire. Here is exactly how it works. When a new franchisee wants to open a McDonald's location, McDonald's Corporation goes out and buys or leases the land and the building. Then McDonald's turns around and leases that same property back to the franchisee at a significantly higher rate. So the franchisee is paying royalties on their sales and rent to McDonald's for their own location. The franchisee thinks they own a restaurant, but they actually work in a building that McDonald's controls. And if the franchisee ever steps out of line or fails to meet standards, McDonald's can simply not renew the lease. The tenant disappears, but McDonald's keeps the property. Brilliant and ruthless. At the same time, right now as we speak, McDonald's owns approximately $40 billion worth of real estate. $40 billion in some of the most prime commercial locations on Earth. High streets, motorways, service stations, airport terminals, shopping centers. Because here is the secret that Ray Kroc understood before almost anyone else. A McDonald's never goes in a bad location. They have entire teams of analysts and researchers who study traffic patterns, population data, future development plans. Before a single golden arch goes up, they know exactly how many cars pass that spot every day, how many families live within a mile, whether a new housing development is planned nearby. McDonald's is not guessing. They are calculating, and every single location becomes more valuable over time because the neighborhood builds up around the McDonald's, not the other way around. Okay, so let me give you the actual numbers, because this is where it gets genuinely mind-blowing. McDonald's has approximately 40,000 locations worldwide. Now, think about this carefully. Of those 40,000 restaurants, only about 5% are owned directly by McDonald's Corporation. The other 95% are run by franchisees. So McDonald's does not cook the food, does not hire the staff, does not manage the day-to-day operations of 95% of its restaurants. The franchisees do all of that. And yet, McDonald's makes money from every single burger sold in every single one of those locations. How? 3 ways. First, royalties. Every franchisee pays McDonald's a percentage of their total sales, usually around 4 to 5% every single month, rain or shine, whether they are profitable or not. Second, rent. As we talked about, McDonald's owns or controls the property and charges franchisees a percentage of sales as rent, usually another 10% or so. So before a franchisee pays a single employee, pays for a single pound of beef, pays a single electricity bill, they have already handed around 15% of everything they make to McDonald's Corporation. Third, licensing fees. Franchisees pay for the right to use the McDonald's name, the logo, the recipes, the systems. Now, multiply all of that by 40,000 locations, operating in 100 countries, serving 69 million customers. Every single day, the total revenue of McDonald's Corporation is around $23 billion per year. But here is the number that really tells the story. The profit margin on McDonald's real estate business is around 82%, 82 cents of profit for every dollar earned from rent. Compare that to the actual food business, which runs on margins of around 15 to 20%. The real estate business is 5 times more profitable than selling burgers. Ray Kroc was right. McDonald's was never a burger company. Now I want to be completely honest with you, because this story has a side that most people do not talk about. While Ray Kroc was building his empire, the men who actually invented McDonald's, Richard and Maurice McDonald, got almost nothing. Ray Kroc eventually bought them out in 1961 for $2.7 million, which sounds like a lot until you realize that $2.7 million in 1961 will be worth maybe $25 million today, but McDonald's Corporation is worth nearly $200 billion. The men who created the system, the Speedee service system, the assembly line kitchen, the entire concept, walked away with less than 0.01% of what their idea was worth. Ray Kroc never hid his feelings about how that deal went down. He once said openly, "I was a little bit ruthless about it." Richard McDonald died in 1998 in a modest home in New Hampshire. He never received royalties from a single McDonald's after that 1961 deal. And there is something else that the McDonald's story teaches us about business and life. Having a great idea is only part of the equation. Execution, vision, and sometimes a ruthless willingness to win. Those are what actually build empires, whether we like that or not. So why does any of this matter to your life right now? Because the McDonald's story is not just about burgers or real estate or Ray Kroc. It is about a principle that the most successful people in the world understand, and most people never figure out. The principle of hidden value. McDonald's customers think they're buying convenience and food. McDonald's franchisees think they are running restaurants. But Ray Kroc saw something nobody else could see. He saw that the real value was not in what everyone else was looking at. And this principle applies to almost every area of life. Amazon built a bookstore, but the real business was logistics. Apple sells phones, but the real money is the App Store and services. Google offers free search, but the real product is your attention and your data. The lesson is this: whatever industry you are in, whatever business you are building, whatever career you are pursuing, ask yourself one question: what is the actual value here that nobody else is seeing? Because the person who finds that answer before everyone else is the person who builds the empire. McDonald's taught us that the most obvious business in the room is almost never the real business. Ray Kroc died in 1984. By that point, McDonald's had over 7,500 locations in 31 countries. He died worth approximately $500 million. Not bad for a milkshake machine salesman who started at 52 years old. But the thing about Ray Kroc that most people miss when they tell his story is that he was genuinely, deeply passionate, not just about money, but about systems, about consistency, about doing things the right way. Every single time, he used to say, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. He visited McDonald's locations, unannounced, at random, just to check if the bathrooms were clean and the fries were hot. He understood something that a lot of modern businesses forget. The brand is only as strong as the worst location. One dirty bathroom in one McDonald's anywhere in the world could damage the entire brand. That obsessive attention to consistency is a massive part of why the Golden Arch became a most recognized symbol on planet Earth, more recognized than the Christian cross. According to some research, think about that for a second. A hamburger restaurant logo, more globally recognized than one of the world's oldest religions. That is the power of obsessive consistency over decades. So the next time you drive past a McDonald's, I want you to look at it differently. Do not see a burger restaurant. See a real estate empire worth $40 billion, hiding in plain sight. See a franchise machine collecting rent and royalties from 40,000 locations in 100 countries every single day. See the ghost of two brothers who had a brilliant idea but did not see the full picture. And see Ray Kroc, a 52-year-old salesman who walked into a parking lot and saw something nobody else could see. The McDonald's story is not really about food. It is about vision. It is about systems. It is about finding the real value hidden inside the obvious thing. And the most powerful question you can ask yourself today is not, how can I work harder? It is, what is everyone around me missing? Because that question, that single question, is worth approximately $200 billion. That was the real story of how McDonald's built one of the greatest business empires in human history, not by making better burgers, but by thinking completely differently about what business they were actually in. If this video made you think, if it gave you even one idea that you can use in your own life, then hit that like button because it genuinely helps more people find this content. Subscribe if you want more stories like this one every single week, and drop a comment below. I want to know, what other business do you think is hiding its real secret behind the obvious product? I read every comment, and I will personally reply. See you in the next one. Stay curious, stay sharp, fire.